What's going on, everybody? Another video, this time something slightly different, and it is another e-bike. If you haven't seen the first one, I will be posting it later. If not, here's this one. So this is in a Aostirmotor, however you want to call it. It's an S17, and this is the secondary model. This has a brushless 1500 watt motor with a 20 amp hour battery. And this is removable battery, and this bike signifies kind of like a hybrid mountain bike fat tire e-bike. Now these fat tires are a little bit thinner than a 4-inch fat tire, and they're a little bit shorter as well. And I'll do a side-by-side comparison as well with my other bike. But this is a hybrid full suspension mountain bike. The reason why I say hybrid is the rear suspension, not too good. The front suspension, surprisingly good. So we'll go over the options on this thing and show you kind of like what I like about it and what I dislike about it, and why it is probably the best bang for the buck for an e-bike by far that you can take in a truck, not necessarily on a bike rack unless you have the tire mounted ones. But anyways, so this is what I see beneficial about this one. First and foremost, this is an e-bike, and it is 1500 watt, and it is powered by this screen right here. Turn it on. Aostirmotor. I don't know how well it looks on the screen here, but if we go into menu by clicking one long button on the M and then the short one on the second one, we actually can modify this menu pretty well. Now if we go into system, you can see that this is a 48 watt system. You can actually crank that on here up and beyond, but it won't work. 52, 72, it won't work because this is not made for anything but 48. It'll actually mess with the battery and then signify an error on the controller because it doesn't work with anything above the 48 watt. So we're going to leave that unit system Imperial because we're America. Actually, you can see by the look of this thing that is American flag, which is hilarious since it was made in China. Now, pedal assist or auto assist is off because the drive mode is on both, which we'll come to see works when you pedal and when you hit the throttle, which is right here. So anyways, let's exit out of that. And auto off is self-explanatory. Wheel size determines how fast you go, and also how accurate the speedometer is. Now, another thing that I heard about this is the larger you make the wheel size, the faster it goes, because circumference of these wheels are so small that the larger you make it, it'll actually spin the wheel faster. So I crank it all the way to the top in order to get a faster setting on it. Advanced settings are as they sound, and this is always, this will help everybody out here, it's 1-8-0-1. That's your password to first log into this. Okay, speed limit, obviously I'm going to put that to the top. Current limit is stock at 52. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that does, but I have modified that a little bit and haven't seen much of a difference. Assist levels, this is the big one. It's stock at 5. You can do 3 as a lower one if you want to stay low. 5 is your stock or your normal, and 9 is where you really get the cranking faster amounts. Pulls in the motor, leave that at 46. That is also a stock one. And then throttle PMW or PWM, I'm not sure what that is. Same thing with the assist pulls. And start mode is where you start at. Okay. Also, battery is self-explanatory. We'll go into that just to show you. 54 volts right now it's sitting at. It's at 100% because I fully charged it. And so on and so forth. Factory setting brings it back to factory. Password's the password you want to add for the advanced settings. Information's information. And screen direct is just flipping it whatever which way is there. So here's like the information from my tripometer so far. As you can see, I've only driven about 4 miles, maybe 5 on this one. And then I also averaged 18 and maximum has 73 kilometers. And I'll show you why that's the case. All right, so here's the main screen again since we exited. Here's the assist levels. You can see I'm cranking them up. The normal maximum is 5, but since I added them to 9, there's the assist to 9. And that comes into play something fierce, as I'll show you. There's also, there's RT speeds, average speeds, maximum speeds. As you can see, my max speed I hit so far was 45.7 miles an hour, which is crazy fast for an e-bike. And just to show you the clock as well, you can see this is not accurate because I did not set it. And you can set it. I'm just not going to do it. Today is June 11th or something, or July 11th, sorry. And could be later. I don't know. I've lost track of all those settings. But anyways, so we're gonna get this out and we're gonna show you how it performs. Just off basic stuff right now. As you can see, I'm wearing some crappy flip-flops and I don't plan on going too fast. I just built this one, 5 miles ago, as I was stating. It's got a Shimano derailleur, which is really nice. The normal e-bikes have crappy derailleurs, and also you have adjustable compression suspension with the compression lever down bottom too, in case you want more out of it, which I'll show you. Let's flip it over real quick. Got to be careful of the screen too with this, because the screen is here's the compression right here. So you can actually set the compression higher or lower on this as well on the bottom via clicks. So that's a huge positive. This fork is surprisingly good. It's very surprisingly good. All right, let's set it back down and we'll put the shocks back on because I turned them off. Okay, so let's get this thing out there and try it out and do kind of like a max speed run. Now, the funny thing about this bike is I have seen no reviews on it at all. Zero. I'm in the top gear too, so let's click all the way down to first gear. And the funny part about this bike as well, which surprised me big time, is it's very usable without any assist. It's a nice bike to ride. The tires aren't big, as big as like a normal, 26-inch fat tire bike. It's more of a mountain bike style bike. So we'll go up to 1 and assist. So the assist on this is so quiet that you can't even hear it. So it's assisting right now and you can't even hear it. Now I'm going to press the throttle down because this is a steep hill and I'm going to let it go. So the assist for this is set super low, and you can see my speeds as well. And I'm going to run down some pretty rocky terrain here just to show you. Super smooth. The rear shock sucks, but that is super smooth. All right, let's crank these up a little bit. So there I go. I'm assisting all the way to 9. You can't hear the motor at all, but it's assisting. So I'm going to go up this hill. There, it's assisting me. I'm barely even pedaling. Barely, but you can hear the motor very slightly. That's the one good part about this bike compared to the other one. This bike, you can't hear anything. So again, we're gonna go up this heavy hill right here. This is a surprisingly steep hill. We're gonna go right up it with absolutely no pressure on the legs at all. Amazing performance. Now, you hear the brakes squeaking, and the reason why you hear the brakes squeaking is because, number one, they're brand new, and they're also hydraulic up top right here. Now, I thought these were just regular brakes, but they do have a hydro in here, but it's cable driven, so it's like, real hydraulic brakes have hydraulics all the way to the, the actual brake mechanism. So these technically are hydraulic, but they're not full style hydraulics. So the brakes are probably the weakest point of this by far, that and the rear shock. But the rear shock is adjustable and you can swap it out for an actual gas rear shock. It does have adjustments on it to loosen the springs up, which I would recommend if you're about my weight, because it is way too hard. But it is a very nice bike for the money, for sure. If I were to change anything about this bike, it would be that rear shock, and I would modify these screens a little bit more. As you can see, that really didn't work assist wise in modes 1 to 8, but 9 really kicked in. So you can actually set those in advanced settings, and you can also set those in the regular settings as well, which we'll do another time. But that's the assist levels and everything about that as well. So that's another thing to note. Now, one last thing I'm going to do before I close out this video, because a lot of people want to see it, is the top speed of this as well. So there randomly are no videos on this bike on YouTube other than through Aostirmotor, and they like to comment, so I hope they're watching this and like the video. But this is just an unadulterated response, or not necessarily response, but video to what I believe is the right way to review this without checking in any other way. This is just an unbiased review. I bought it with my own money. And yeah, so anyways, let's get this at top speed but I'm not going to pedal. I'm going to leave this in first gear right here, and we're just going to use the throttle. And we're at 100% or 99, we're close enough. So we should get maximum out of this. So we're going to make sure no cars are coming, and we're going to hit this too. So it's going to kick on right here, and I'm going to tighten this down again, make sure there's nothing there. I'm going to go down the hill so that I'm not using the hill for assist. I'm going to start from scratch at the flat. So this is flat right here, and we're going to see how fast we go. Okay, here we go. No pedaling. See how fast we go with a Aostirmotor 1500 watt bike. So this is already past the maximum speed of a 750. So we're still moving faster. So we hit about 38 right there. 38 was the maximum speed on flat without pedaling at all. Again, we're in first gear, so the pedal is very weak anyways. So you can see I'm already at maximum with this pedal, so I'm just going to use the throttle again. Now we're going up a slight hill, so we're going to take the average of 38 and whatever this is, and we're going to figure out what's the fastest speed, or the average speed, not fastest. Fastest, I've gotten this up to 46 miles an hour roughly. Okay, so we're just about 35 miles an hour going up a hill. So if we take the average of those two, we're about 36. And here we are going up a very steep hill without pedaling at all with a 1500 watt, and I'm about 170 pounds. So there we go. So let's go up the hill a little bit more. And I still can't pedal because I'm in first gear. And we're still just using assist only up a very steep hill. And we're still roughly 16 miles an hour. So let's turn back around, go back down the hill, and do a final assessment of this thing. And the shock is locked up front. So if I kept going down this hill, I'd hit 45 again, no problem. Also, when the brakes are engaged here, there's a little exclamation point. What that says is you can't actually use the throttle when you have the brakes on. So as soon as you take the brakes off, use the throttle and you start going again. All right, let's go back up this hill. Let's park her up top under the tree since it's very hot outside today. And take another look at it. Oh, a little steep, a little steep. Okay, take another look at this bike. So my full assessment on this is that for the money, there's nothing better for the buck. It's under $2,000, 1500 watt, fully brushless, quiet as can be. It's also not technically legal on the road unless you leave it down 750 watts or less, depending on your area or country or anything about that. I believe that this bike is still upgradable, and it still has very good potential to be one of the better e-bikes, hybrids for mountain bike style. It's not very heavy either, considering. I thought this thing was going to weigh over 100 pounds. It's about 90 pounds, even though my 750 e-bike is about 78 pounds. So not much heavier for that big battery, and not too bad. So one last thing I'm going to show you is to turn it off. You just turn the key or turn this off up here. Then to take the battery out, you push in, spin, and then this whole mechanism comes out. Here's your battery right there. So yeah, there she is, the Aostirmotor 1500 watt bike. Hope you enjoyed this video. Like or subscribe for some more content, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.